Hello, this is Rafe from Reach Me Faster. We are a digital marketing agency specializing in Google Adwords and Facebook advertising for local businesses. In this video, I'd like to show you how to create a successful AdWords campaign for your dental office using Google AdWords best practices with regards to setting up the campaign, the ad groups, using bids correctly, and then selecting the right keywords and writing attractive ads, and then of course utilizing the AdWords ad extension. Break it down into two parts, but let's quickly start with the campaign types and targeting options. So the campaign types in AdWords, there are several campaign types and each has its own targeting options. The main ones for a dental office are going to be the search network campaign and the display network campaign, and these are the targeting options. The first four are available in the search network campaign, search network only campaign, and then all six are available in the display network campaign. And then depending upon how you want to or where you want your ads to appear, you can select appropriate campaign type and use several of these targeting options to optimize your campaign and control who can see your ad and where your ad can appear. So let me show this using a sample account. This is a draft account. So, and the campaign we'll create for is William Ledford, DDS. He is a dentist in Kansas City, Missouri. So let's create a campaign, an example campaign in this draft account. And as you can see, when you choose the option of creating a new campaign within your AdWords account, you will have this drop down and list several campaign types. Shopping is not for you. Similarly, universal app campaign is not for you. Video campaign, yes, you may want to test some video ads, but right now it's not really something that I recommend for a dental office. But you may want to test it maybe if you're in a very competitive area and you have limited budget. Maybe you could test 300 a month, 400, 500 a month on YouTube and see if you can get some return, especially if you offer some complex procedure that has a high value and takes a demonstration to explain the procedure, something like dental implants or full mouth restoration or something like that. Maybe you can get a return through a video campaign. But otherwise, these three are where, or specifically these two are where you're mostly going to concentrate on: the search network only campaign and the display network only campaign. So the search network campaign will help you show your ads on the search network, that is on Google search, and then search partners like Maps, Google Maps, and other search engines which use Google to serve their ads, like for example AOL and a couple of others that have essentially used Google search engine to show search results. And then there's this option, search network with display select, which is essentially, you can say Google has simply combined two network types and they call it, give it a new name. So because they have so much unsold inventory on the display network, they just want to force advertisers who are lazy to select this campaign type, and then this will give them more reach and things like that, stuff like that. But we don't want to get basically confused with that. We want to focus on search network only for search ads, and on the display network only we can run remarketing campaigns, we can run Gmail ads, we can use custom audiences or customer match on the display network. So all that is very useful when you basically go into advanced strategies like remarketing and custom audiences and Gmail ads. But for the most part, most of your budget for any local business, especially for a dentist, is going to be the search network only. So let's choose this option, search network only, and then it will take us to the targeting options page. So here we are. Let it load first. So these are essentially the fields will be asked, or you can say these are the targeting options for a search network, these first four. So when you create a campaign, you will first be asked for the location, language, device, and yeah, these are the two main ones that will be asked, and then the keywords will come when you create the ad group. Okay, so first we need to decide what subtype. We have to also select the subtypes. Search network only is campaign type, but then they also have some subtypes. I suggest you select all features and forget about these mobile app installs, engagement, dynamic search ads. You can also select call only campaign. That I have tested and works reasonably well, but it does not work as well as a standard or all features campaign where you have everything under your control. So anyway, so we select all features. We click this to include Google Maps because this is important, especially for mobile devices. People often use the Maps app or simply search for local dentist on the map to get to find offices that are nearest to them. And we can rename this to maybe something like Feb 2017, search Feb 2017, so we know it's a search network only campaign. And then devices add. Okay, so as you can see, the ads will show on all eligible devices. Right now they do not give you the option to select the devices. However, once the campaign is created, you can apply adjustments to different devices, and that would allow you to control where your ads show, on which devices your ads show basically. So for example, you can exclude mobile devices altogether, or you can exclude tablets altogether, or you can exclude desktop devices altogether by putting a -100 bid adjustment. And then of course we have to choose the location, and for locations, since Kansas City, so we'll use that for now. Although if it was a very large city, we may want to use a radius targeting option, which is, once you go into advanced search, you can select radius targeting and put your address over here. And let's say for example 20 miles or 10 miles, you can put a number over here, and your ads will be targeted to folks within that radius. For example, this is the address. Right, so if you search that, that's 20 miles. This is the office, or rather, this is Kansas City, this is the office. And if we can reduce that to maybe something more appropriate for dental office, I would say 15 miles is enough. And so there you have it. This is where your ad is going to show up. And so as you can see, the office is located mostly on the south side of the city. So maybe it is a better idea to use the radius targeting instead of targeting the entire Kansas City, because there are other nearby cities that the residents of those cities may also be interested in visiting the office. So I suggest using radius targeting in this situation. But if the city was small enough, we could target the entire city as well. So it's not a big problem. Anyway, so this is what we have. If you remove this, this is the target location, 15 miles around the office address. And now it suggests some. Okay, before the language, let's first select people. In my target option, I use this option to target ads exclusively to people who are present in that targeted area, in that circle that I just showed you, so that your ad does not appear to anyone who is not located inside that target area, and exclude, just keep it as it is recommended. But you see, Google recommends this option, people in searching for or show interest in my target location. No, you can select this as well. It won't make much of a difference, but what it will do is that it will show your ad to people if they search from outside of the area. Now, I don't want to do that. I don't like to do that, because then competitors, then other marketing companies and things like that, they can also search and see your ad and then click on it and waste your money. So it's better to keep your ad available, you keep your budget available for people who are residing or present inside the targeted location. In some cases this may make sense. Maybe if you have excess budget, then you can expand this, you can select this option and you will get a few more clicks. But for the most part, for most general office, this is the correct option. And then of course exclude, you keep it as it is. And then based on our targeted location targeting method or location targeting area that you just selected, Google has recommended that we select these languages, we target these languages. However, I don't think Dr. William Ledford has Japanese speakers or French, German, Japanese, Spanish. I mean, if there's office that supports these languages, maybe they can target, but we don't support, or I don't think this standard supports these languages, so we'll just target the English language. But let's say, for example, especially if you are in California, Spanish is a big language. Okay, so there definitely you will have to support Spanish if you want to be a successful office, and so you will have to target that language as well. But over here we don't have such a problem, so English is the only language you're going to target. Then the bid strategy, here we have several options, but I prefer the manual cost per click, because this is the one that you can fully control. The other options, you're essentially giving Google the control to manage your bids. Okay, so I would select manual CPC and I would enable enhanced CPC once conversion tracking is set up, because right now the conversion tracking has not been set up, and so Google cannot enable this option for us because we just started a campaign. But select manual CPC and then come back to this option and select and tick just this checkbox to enable enhanced CPC, because it gives you sort of the best of the both worlds. You can allow Google to increase your bid if it thinks it will result in a conversion. This is basically what enhanced CPC is. Google can raise your bids by up to 30% if they think it will result in a conversion. But if you select one of these options, then the entire control is with Google, how they show your ad or what bid they select for your keywords. And I don't want that to happen, because I want to optimize the campaign where I have control for my client's budget, because then I am answerable for the performance. So I would like to have the campaign budget in my control and the bids in my control. Now the default bid, right now you can select anything, but this is going to be changed, and the budget is your daily budget depending upon how much you want to spend. Let's keep it at $50 per day. Maybe the office is open about 4 or 5 days a week, and then in a given month that's about 16 days or maybe 20 days. So that would give us $1,000 a month, gives us a $50 per day budget. Delivery method, the default is standard. However, I personally like the accelerated option, but it depends really upon your budget. If you find that you have some budget left over every day, then you can select the accelerated option. However, if you find that your budget is simply exhausted in the first 4 or 5 hours of the day, then you should switch over to the standard option. I will keep this as the standard because I haven't run any campaign in this city or in this target location. Now, ad extensions. So Well, I mean, you can check this right now, and then it will take you to the uh, correct page where you can add the location information. But right now we'll just keep it as it is. Okay. However, we will use ad extensions once we've created the ads. Right now we haven't created ads, so we'll just skip it for now and come back to this once we have added the ad groups and the ads, so that it makes more sense what we will cover in the ad extensions and what we will cover within the ad copy, the default ad text itself. So we'll just skip this for now because we don't know what we will cover in the ad copy, and so we cannot write the ad extension, like for example site links, callouts, structure snippets. These are all additional text that you can add to your ad, but we don't have an ad copy right now, so we don't know what we should write over here. Anyway, so we'll skip that and come back to it later. And then you have the schedule. This is basically essentially you can run the ads during certain hours of the day, and usually for general office that's going to be your office timings. However, some offices like to run ads throughout the day. They have a call center answering the calls that are generated, and in case they have a call or they have some callers after the office hours, they can still schedule those patients. And so they can, if you have that facility and you can take calls after hours, after office hours, then you should keep your ads running all day. But otherwise, you should, for most cases, definitely you should only run ads during office hours. So for Dr. William Ledford, the office hours we can find over here, and then add those. So it's 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Wednesday, and then Friday, and Sunday is closed. I think Saturday, I'm not sure, maybe he's open an alternate Saturday, but anyway, so these are the four. This is the ad schedule essentially. So you simply copy this thing over here, and that's your ad schedule. I'm not going to do that, but that's what it is. Ad rotation, again, this option, recommended settings, optimize for clicks, you can leave it at that. However, I use this option because I optimize the ad, or my company, we have a policy that we optimize ads over time. So we look at ads every week, every 2 weeks, and then change the ads that are not performing, and that's how we improve the click-through rate over time. But if you just keep it at optimize for clicks, then you're essentially telling Google, okay, run the ad that is getting more clicks, but you're not going to ever improve your click-through rate because you're stuck with the same ad, the ad that gets the most clicks. If you create 2 ads, 3 ads, Google will run them, test them out, and see which ad gets the best highest number of clicks, and they will continue with that ad for forever until you add another ad that gets a better click-through rate. So we use this option, rotate indefinitely, but that's because we are always optimizing the ad copy. If you do not have time to revise your ads at least once a month, once or twice a month, or maybe once even in a quarter, then I suggest use this optimize for clicks. You should not use optimize for conversions even when it becomes available. Right now it's not available because there are no conversions, there is no conversion tracking setup. But optimize for clicks, that is the default option. You should use that if you don't have time to optimize the ad copy at least once every 2-3 months. Anyway, so that is the ad rotation. This is what I'm going to select because that is my preferred option. Then dynamic search ads, this is not for you. And then campaign URL option, this is again if you're using third-party tracking. We're not going to use third-party tracking. This is not such a complicated campaign. A dental office campaign is very straightforward in terms of tracking. But if you were using, let's say for example, some complex, you have 10 different locations and you want to test different things, then maybe you have 10 landing pages, so that makes 10 times 10, 100 landing pages, and then you have thousands of keywords, and then you want to do very specific testing, what headline works best and things like that, then you could use these third-party tracking to use some dynamic text within your landing page, and then you'll be able to basically test different or track different sources of traffic, of that is the keyword, the ad copy that resulted in a lead, in a call, in the form submission, etc. But we don't, or at least I don't expect with Dr. William Ledford, this dental office and most dental office to use this option, so we'll just leave that as it is. So we have set up we've done the basic setup. Now we save and continue to the next step, which is going to be creation of an ad group. But before we go to the ad group, let's go back to the presentation where we will see that once we've completed the campaign types and targeting options, next thing we need to look at is the bid strategy. So we saw the option within the campaign types of bid strategy, and I have already selected the manual cost per click. However, I just wanted to explain why I selected manual, or what is the difference between automated and manual cost per click. So basically, manual means that you will be adjusting bids manually, that is, you want to be in control of each individual bid and bid adjustment. With automated cost per click, you're letting Google control your bids. You specify a maximum bid that you do not want ever to go over, so Google knows the limit not to exceed. But Google will have control over your bids. Now what that means is that other advertisers, other dentists who are also bidding on the same keywords, who are also using automated bids, what happens then? So there is a conflict of interest. Let's say, for example, in Kansas City, there are 20 dentists advertising or bidding on the keyword dentist, Kansas City, Missouri. And 10 of them are using automated cost per click. So with different limits, one has one has a maximum limit of 12, one has a maximum limit of 11, 10, 9, 8, whatever. But then Google has to use some algorithmic value, something to basically arrange a bid that maximizes, or whatever the goal of the automated bid is, because there are several strategies you can use, but Google has control. And there's a conflict of interest because they have control of bids of, let's say, more than one dentist, your competitors as well as you. And you want to avoid that situation, because this means you're not getting the best return, because in some cases you may lose out to a competitor who, if you were using and that would not be the case if you were using a manual bid. So in some cases the competitor will win, in some cases you will win in an automated bid scenario, because Google is managing your bids. But in manual, you have control. So if you don't want to lose out on certain keywords, you can ensure that you get maximum benefit. That is not possible in automated bids, especially when it comes to competitive markets, competitive cities, where several dentists are using automated bids and trusting Google to manage their bids and get them the best return. But Google cannot do that because they have a conflict of interest. They want to do the best for 10 people. How can you do the best for 10 people? Clearly, all 10 will lose out. Then what? Then the potential available to each of them. So this is where most agencies or most people, managers, will use manual bidding option, because this is what is going to get you your best ROI, because you can control each and everything. The risk, of course, is that if you set the wrong bids on the manual cost per click, you will end up losing a lot of money, or more money than, for example, in an automated cost per click strategy. So just going back to the bidding strategies that we saw over there, let me see if we can go back to the bidding strategies. So this is the campaign we saved. And so you can change the bid strategy anytime you want, but these are the bidding strategy. Target search page location. So you are going to let Google target a certain position on the page, maybe number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then target CPA is the cost per conversion, cost per acquisition. You tell Google that you want to achieve a certain cost per lead. Let's say, for example, you want to pay not more than $60 per lead or $50 per lead. So Google will ensure that the bids are that they control your bid such that the cost per lead remains below 50. And similarly, target return on ad spend. This is mostly for e-commerce sites where the ROI is extremely important because there's a massive variation between the margins, the profit of different products. So, but in most dental offices, this is not a suitable bidding strategy. Then there's target outranking share. Maybe you want to outrank a certain competitor, but that's again, depends upon the conversion rate. What if you are not able to convert those clicks as high as your competitor? So target outranking share, although it will help you get a higher position than your competitor, it does not mean that you will make more profit than you could if you use manual cost per click. And similarly, there's maximize click. This basically lets you, or Google will let you get maximum number of clicks within your ad budget. Again, this seems illogical to me because if in Kansas City, if there are 3 dentists out of the 10 that are using automated clicks, 3 select maximize clicks, how will Google manage that? How will Google manage maximize clicks on all 3? It's impossible. So these automated bid strategies are essentially Google's way of getting advertisers who are lazy to let them manage their advertising, so that Google essentially, they're a profit-making business. They're in the business of making money. They will ensure that they arrange ads in such a way that generates maximum clicks. And for them, this is good because they make money every time somebody clicks the ad. And this is what you want to avoid. You want to use the manual cost per click option because you want to keep control of your bids in your own hands, so that whatever decision you make you can actually take responsibility and then, of course, make decisions that will help you get a higher ROI than your competitors, which is not possible, by the way, in any of these automated bid strategies, especially when your competitors are also using the same strategy. So I hope this bid strategy is clear now, and we can discuss the different ways you can set the manual bid. So from now on, when I say bid, I mean a manual cost per click bid, meaning that you will have to manually adjust the bid, because I recommend that is the correct strategy to use. Anyway, so one of the best methods of setting manual bids is to calculate the maximum cost per click. So what is the maximum cost per click? Well, that is a good question. Maximum cost per click basically is the maximum bid that you can afford to pay per click. Now, before you can calculate that, you need to calculate the profit you can make per click. And this is a sample calculation for profit per click. So you need some numbers from your practice management software, and then there are some AdWords benchmarks that you can use to calculate the potential profit per click. So let's say, for example, average production per patient in the first year. So if you have a new patient, you only want to take into account the production they generate in the first year. You don't want to take the lifetime production, lifetime value. That's ridiculous, because only the first the first treatment, and that treatment may take 3, 4, 5, 6 visits, but that first treatment or the first few treatments are a direct result of your AdWords campaign or any advertising campaign, whether it be AdWords, Facebook, or direct mail. But the subsequent visits that come after the first 4, 5 treatments or first 4, 5 visits, the subsequent treatments, the subsequent visits, and then therefore the subsequent production is a result of your internal marketing, is a result of patient satisfaction, but it is definitely not because of your AdWords campaign. So the easiest way to do this is to take into account the production a new patient gives you or generates in the first year. You can check your practice management software and work this out. And I've used an average or a ballpark figure of $1,000. That is because most new patients will have some problem, and so whether it's a filling, root canal, or crown, they need a new crown. So all that, and then plus they may need cleaning, etc. Maybe they come back for cleaning twice a year. So all that combined gives you an average about $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. You take a 30% profit margin, 70-30. That is basically again an average production profit margin in a general practice, and then you get profit per new patient is $300. This is the profit a new patient generates when they enter your practice. As I said, we are only taking account production in the first year. They may, if they become a patient for the long term, the second, third, fourth, 5, 5th years, the production that generates from the new patient in the second year onwards should not be used to calculate the profit per click. Why? Because that production is a result of your internal marketing, is a result of how you basically run your practice, and are patients satisfied with your work or not. So that production is a result of your other activities rather than the AdWords campaign or advertising campaign. The other part is the AdWords benchmarks that you can use, and this includes clicks to lead conversion. So how many clicks or what percentage of clicks are turned into calls. This is 20% in our experience. If the campaign is optimized correctly, you can get 20% of clicks to convert into calls or form submissions. Then leads to patient conversion rate. This depends on your front desk. If you have a well-trained staff, then they can convert more than 25%, but 25% will book even if you have a rubbish front desk that doesn't know how to deal with new patient calls. Still, because it is search advertising and because people are actually searching for a dentist, as long as you have decent reviews and decent landing page, you will book up at least 25% of the calls that are generated from the AdWords campaign. This is the beauty of search advertising. Number of clicks needed to book one patient. So taking these two into account, you will find that number of clicks. So this is basically 1/5 and 1/4. You multiply by 2, you get 1/20. So you get one patient from 20 clicks. So so number of clicks needed to book one patient is 20. The profit is $300 per new patient, and therefore the profit generated per click is $15. Now, this is the profit per click you will get from Google AdWords if you take this average scenario and basically hit these AdWords benchmarks. What you have to decide is how much ROI do you need from the campaign. If you want an ROI of 50%, then the maximum cost per click is $10. If you want an ROI 100%, then the maximum cost per click is $7.5. If you want an ROI of 200%, the cost per click is going to be $5. Now, depending upon how much ROI you need or you desire, you will have a value of the actual cost per click you can afford to achieve that ROI. So for example, the 100% ROI, which is what the recommended amount is, 100% ROI means that whatever you spend on AdWords, you will generate the same amount of profit. So maybe if you spend, let's say, 20,000 a year, you will generate 20,000 profit. So for basically 20,000 the net profit after subtracting the cost of advertising. The gross profit is going to be 40,000, and the production is going to be, well, several times that, because profit margin is only 30%. So 40,000 is going to be the gross profit minus the advertising cost. It will be 20,000 if you're spending 20,000 on AdWords per year at 100% ROI. And if you are really conservative, then you will go with 200%, that you want basically double the amount of net profit that you are spending on AdWords. So if you are spending 10,000, you want $20,000 profit. And 50% is 50% is conservative, 20% is very aggressive. 50% is essentially you will only want a net profit. 50% of that you are spending on Google. So if you're spending 10,000, you will only generate $5,000 in profit after subtracting the cost of advertising, that is $10,000. So, and then based off that, obviously, since you are so conservative, you can bid higher. Okay, so you can bid up to $10. And similarly, if your ROI is 200%, which is very aggressive, you can only bid $5 because you want so high ROI. So the best is to remain at 100%. That is a decent or very good ROI for most advertising campaigns, and it allows you to stay competitive, meaning that your bid is not so low that you cannot even get more than a few clicks. So at 100% ROI, you will get decent volume of clicks, and those clicks will generate 100% ROI. At 50% ROI, the ROI is so low that you lose the benefit of using Google AdWords compared to, for example, direct mail or other sort of radio advertising, other kind of outdoor advertising where you generate 40-50% ROI anyway. So what's the benefit of advertising Google if you're not able to generate more than 50%? So the recommended is this 100% ROI. This will give you a decent number of clicks, and you will be able to compete because your bid is high enough, the maximum cost per click is high enough that you can bid high enough to get those clicks. Now this is the actual cost per click, meaning that what you pay. However, the bid, that is what you bid, is always going to be more than what you end up paying, because that is how the auction works. And to understand the maximum CPC bid, I suggest you watch this video again that I already linked out in the previous video, and this basically explains what the maximum bid is. The bid at which the incremental cost per click equals the profit per click. So depending upon your ROI, you have selected the profit. Let's say, for example, if you're satisfied with 100% ROI, then the cost per click is 7.5. So when the incremental cost per click equals 7.5, that is your maximum CPC bid. If you go above that maximum CPC bid, you will start losing money. Okay, you will start losing money in the sense that you will generate less profit if you bid, or if the incremental cost per click is higher than the profit per click. So profit per click, you want it to have a basically $15, and then if the incremental cost per click goes over $15, well, that means time to scale your bid back. However, if the incremental cost per click is lower than the profit per click, you can still increase your bid, okay, and then you will still make a profit. So I suggest you watch this video to understand this concept of maximum CPC bid. But anyway, once you figure out the ROI and the profit per click, you will have the bid, that the actual cost per click, and then based on that you can use this as a manual cost per click bid. So for example, if you want 100% ROI in the cost per click, therefore is 7.5 based on the profit per click, this is what you're going to use as a starting bid. any clicks that are less than 7.5, you can increase the bid. Any clicks that are more than 7.5, that means you're getting less than 100% ROI on those bids. So on those clicks, so you need to reduce the bid. But the default bid is therefore going to be, the benchmark is going to be 7.5 per click. That is the cost per click that you want to achieve. Okay, so this is one method of using manual cost per click bidding strategy. The other method is, of course, the cost per conversion. If you don't want to do per click analysis like we just did, if you find that too complex, well, then you can use simply the cost per conversion or the cost per lead. You simply define how much you're willing to pay per new patient, and you can use that to then calculate how much to increase or decrease bids. If you're getting from an ad group, if you're getting new patients, that's $60 per new patient or $50 per call, and your maximum is 60, you can increase the bid on that particular ad group to make sure that you get a few more clicks and hopefully a few more leads. But if on an ad group you're getting $100 per lead and your target is 50 or 60, then of course that ad group is above your limit, and so you have to reduce your bids to get a lower cost per lead on that particular ad group. So this is the cost per conversion analysis for manual bids. The other, of course, is the competitor bid. So you can use the keyword planner and see what other advertisers are bidding on and use that as a benchmark or use that as a suggestion to then set your own bids. So for example, in Dentist Kansas City, we can see 8, 10, 9, 8 to 9, 10. Basically, that is where the competitors are bidding. This is the average cost per click. Remember that. So there are advertisers who are paying more than this. There are advertisers who are paying less than this. It all depends on how well you set up your account and basically how well you optimize the campaign. If you set up your account correctly and optimize your campaign, you can definitely pay much lower than this and still get a higher ad position than some of these competitors who are paying more than this value. But for most part, you can use these bids as a suggestion and try to get as close to them. But these, as I said, these are average. Some people are paying more than this and some people are paying less. What you can do is maybe use 80% or 70% of this bid as your starting cost per click. And so, for example, $8, 70% of 80% of $8 around 6.5. So you can do the bid $6, $6.5, and you will be able to compete. That is, your ad will start appearing in the top 3-4 spots, as long as you have set up the campaign using the best practices. But keep in mind that this suggestion is based on the average. It's basically Google recommended, so you have to be careful in using these, otherwise you may end up paying a lot higher price per click than if you were to bid lower than some of the more, you can say, more wasteful advertisers. So advertisers who are using some automated bid strategy, they might be paying 12, 13, 14, 15 per click, getting the first spot or second spot, but you may end up paying $5, $6 per click and get the third spot. So that is definitely advantageous, more beneficial than trying to compete for the first spot and trying to basically bid higher than $14, $15 per click. So that is another way to assign bids to your AdWords campaign using competitor data, using Google Keyword Planner data, and then coming up with a certain percentage, 70, 80% that you're comfortable with, and using that as your ad group or keyword bid. So now that we have completed the bids, we can go on to the next section, which is about the ad group structure and the campaign structure. So now in this case we only have basically one office location, so there is no problem as such with regards to the location targeting. However, if you had 3-4 different locations, well, then it is recommended to create a separate ad campaign for each location. So the same procedure will be repeated 3-4 or however number of times, and the reason is because the location targeting and language targeting options are available only at the campaign level, and also the budget can only be set at the campaign level. So depending upon production, depending upon the cost, depending upon the type of patients each office is getting, you can basically optimize the budget and spread it correctly and allocate the correct amount to each office if you have a separate campaign. And similarly, you can test different offers for each office depending upon the type of residents that live nearby, depending upon the type of patients you want to attract. And similarly, you can assign different ad schedule to each campaign, because ad schedule can also only be activated at the campaign level. So because the most important things like ad schedule, the budget, etc., location, language can only be selected at the campaign level, it is recommended that you create a separate campaign for each office location. The second thing you need to keep in mind is that not to use more than 10 to 15 closely related ad groups or keywords per ad group. So what is an ad group? So ad group is essentially comprised of keywords that you are bidding on. So within a campaign, let me take you back to the AdWords account. So within a campaign you have some ad groups. Right now we don't have any, we have not created any ad groups, but before creating the ad groups, I just wanted to emphasize that you should not include more than 10 to 15 closely related keywords per ad group. And so for example, over here we can see this dental practice offers different procedures. Each procedure or each you can say treatment is essentially a separate ad group. So general dentistry is a separate ad group. Cosmetic dentistry. So general dentistry ad group will only include keywords that are closely related to general dentistry. General dentist, general dental office, or general dentistry, Kansas City, and things like that. Similarly, cosmetic dentistry will include keywords like cosmetic dentist cost, cosmetic dentist price, etc., etc. All closely related to cosmetic dentistry. Same as with teeth whitening, periodontal services, clear, correct, dental implants, dentures, partial dentures. Now this you may divide into two ad groups. So dentures is separate, and then partial dentures, which is a more specific type of denture, that can be a separate ad group. Similarly, implant supported dentures could be a separate ad group. Now pediatric service, pediatric dentist, and all keywords related to that, and then kids dentist, that is going to be a separate ad group, because the keywords related to kids, child dentist, children's dentist, and things like that will be in the kids dentist ad group. Whereas more, you can say more specific variation, that is a pediatric dentist, that is going to be a separate ad group. Similarly, root canal treatment, separate ad group. Endodontist, Kansas City, endodontics, Kansas City, etc. will be separate ad group. What you do not want is to have lots of different keywords in the same ad group. Why? Because that will create problem in terms of relevancy when you go on to create an ad. When you go on to write an ad for that ad group, you will find it difficult to make that ad relevant to a variety of different keywords. So in order to avoid that problem, in order to make sure that your ad is highly relevant to all the keywords present in the ad group, it's better to focus each ad group on a single closely related theme, and that can only be achieved if you have less than 10, 15, maximum 10, 15 keywords within an ad group. And then of course, if you find that some procedures are performing better than others, or maybe you have a special procedure that nobody else offers within your city or within your neighborhood, then you can also create a separate campaign that you may want to use to perhaps bid higher or give it a separate budget than your overall campaign, AdWords campaign. Or you may want to target a larger area because no other office is offering this service. Maybe you have a sedation facility and you know that your competitors don't have, so you may want to target a larger area to capture those patients specifically that are fearful of going to the dentist, visiting the dentist. And because you have a monopoly, you can essentially target a bigger area to attract those patients. Or it may be some other, let's say in procedure Invisalign or something, you're the only preferred provider, or you have a specific insurance that no one else, insurance plans that no one else is offers or is in network with. Then also you can create a separate campaign targeting keywords related to that particular discount or insurance plan, and you may want to allocate a separate budget to that separate campaign. So essentially the conclusion is that you create a separate campaign every time you want to target a separate location, you want to have a separate budget, you want to have a separate ad schedule, because these things can want to have a separate language also. So because these things can only be set or defined at the campaign level. Now I hope you found this video useful. I know I went into a lot of detail, and some of those things may be a little bit more complex, especially bidding and maximum cost per click calculation, cost per conversion calculation, and things like that. But this is what AdWords is all about. It is all about crunching numbers so that you can achieve the best possible ROI, maximum possible profit from your ad budget. No other advertising platform allows you to go in such a detail at the keyword level, at the and the device level, at the even you can say location, zip code level, to adjust bids and get the maximum ROI. So of course we will discuss even more details in the coming videos. For now, I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Goodbye for now.